Hi, it's Mike. Welcome to the Bonsai channel. Well, this starts a new segment called Mr. Bonsai Wizard, and today's episode's all about watering. Let's get started. Before we get started, I just want to go back over general plant science with you guys, just so you'll know, and I'm going to use a maple that I've yet to prune. And basically, through a process known as transpiration, the leaves of the plant absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The roots of the plant absorb oxygen and nutrients. The plant combines the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, and the nutrients to create sugars that allow the plant to grow. The byproduct of this is yet more oxygen, which the leaves then return to the atmosphere. But an important part of the growth of the plant is oxygen in the roots. Little air pockets is where the oxygen comes from. And every plant needs air or oxygen from its roots in order to survive. The only types of plants that don't are swamp type plants that live directly in water and have evolved over millions of years to absorb oxygen directly through their leaves. But it's this part that's important to us, where we need oxygen in our plant's soil. So why is this important? Well, it's important because I've noticed a lot of bonsai people saying that when you're done planting a pot or potting it, or a good way to water it is to take a plant and drop it in the water and just soak it. And see the oxygen coming out of the soil? See the air bubbles? That's all the oxygen coming out of the plant. And in my opinion, that's not a good thing. I'm going to show you why. Here's another example. I have a cut off, expertly cut bottle, and I'm going to place it into the water. Well, I can't go all the way down with it because the air compresses in the bottle and it won't go all the way down. If I were to open the top, I would be able to press it all the way down, thus filling the bottle with water. But where's the air? The air is gone. It's the same thing that happens with your plant when you submerge it. So when you dunk a plant under the water like that, you force all the air out of the roots and out of the soil. The only way for the air to get back in is through drainage and time. So then the air has to come from the top down again. But now we have another problem. What affects drainage? Soil consistency. There's all types of soils that people use in bonsai. Now we always suggest you use a porous soil type like the Fujiyama bonsai mix or the Akadama, or like I prefer, I mix them together, because that allows adequate drainage. But I still wouldn't do that. Let's show you. So what I have is a cup full of Akadama with a little screen in the bottom so it doesn't fall out, and I have a glass of water. Let's see how much water this Akadama absorbs, and let's see what the drainage rate is like. As you can see, the Akadama let most of the water through. It absorbed just enough water, but really the water is just adhered to the outside of the clay balls. That's what Akadama is little clay balls. So there's really a lot of air in this mix, but there's not a lot of water. That's why you have to water every day. Now let's try this experiment again, this time with regular potting soil. As you can see, the drainage is a lot slower. So, as you can see, the regular potting soil is completely clumped together because of the peat moss in it. Imagine, see all the water that's left in it? Imagine your roots in there, they'd be completely underwater. The only thing that would help them is the perlite that's in it. But even then, I don't think it's enough. So what have we learned? In my opinion, I would never dunk my plants underwater like that. It's going to rob them of air. And it totally depends on the type of soil that you have to whether they're going to drain or not. Now, you could do it if you had just akadama, but still, I'd rather water from the top. Many people have written in and said, Mike, why do you keep the soil flat in the bonsai pot? Well, the only reason really is because the plant's in training. If I was going to do it for show, then I would put it in a nice pot, mound the soil up, and put moss over it, some rocks, you know, some decoration. Some people have asked, does it make it easier to water if it's flat? Well, no, it actually doesn't. It may seem like when it's mounded, the water would just run right off, but we have an experiment, and let's go ahead and see that. Okay, so what we've done is we've created a little experiment where I have a bonsai pot, and I have a piece of glass holding back a mound of dirt with moss on top of it that simulates a bonsai pot for show, or a bonsai tree for show. So I've got my super cool Masakuni sprayer here, and I'm going to spray the top of the soil, and let's see what happens. Here I go. Well, what seems to be happening mostly is the water is running down the mound and off of the soil. Doesn't seem like much other than what ran between the glass and the soil is actually soaking down into the soil. But let's make sure. Okay, so I've thoroughly watered it, and from the outside it looked like all the water ran off the edges of the soil. But let's peel it back and see what we've got. This is exactly where I watered it, so it seems wet there. That all seems wet. That all seems wet. And that all seems wet. So see, what this means is you can mound the soil all you want, and even though it looks like all the water rolls off, it actually is thoroughly wetting the soil underneath. So I hope that was fun for you guys, and you maybe learned a little something. That was fun to put together, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Oh, and don't forget, these Masakuni sprayers are awesome. Check it out. See you next time.